Tomorrow night at 9:30, Soap Stars. Now Jim Rosenthal introduces highlights from this weekend's Belgian Grand Prix.
ITV in association with Texaco.
The Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium's Ardennes forest has a climate all of its own, totally unpredictable. The World Championship's already decided, but there's still plenty of action in F1 2001. Hello there, welcome to the highlights of the Belgian Grand Prix. So then Michael Schumacher is world champion for a fourth time. Ferrari have won the Constructors' title for the third season in a row as well. But there is still a lot of racing left this season. We're going to start with a topsy-turvy qualifying hour. Rain and heavy fog prevents the teams from completing all their practice miles. And with a soaked circuit, it's a question of being on the right piece of track at the right time on the right tyres. Ferrari are happy enough. Michael Schumacher in his element on the slippery surface. In the final minutes, though, a dry line emerges and slick tyres are the things to have. Williams are right on the money. Both Ralf Schumacher and Juan Montoya time their last runs to perfection. The result, it's a 1-2. And so Williams tie up the front row. Montoya ahead of Ralf Schumacher. Michael Schumacher's third, alongside an incredible performance from Frentzen, fourth in the Prost. Row 3, Barrichello and Villeneuve. Row 4, Hakkinen and Fisichella. David Coulthard, ninth, his worst grid slot for over 3 years. Buttons 15th, Irvine 17th, and the Arrows and Minardis didn't qualify, but they were all allowed to race on appeal. And so Heinz Harald Frentzen stalls in the Prost, the start aborted. When they try again, it's Juan Pablo Montoya who's immobile in his Williams, the Colombian relegated from pole to the back of the grid. Now let's join Martin Brundle and Murray Walker.
Here we go, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it is go, 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 go! Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher leads. Barrichello coming up into third position behind Michael Schumacher. And they turn in, and Fisichella is well up in the Benetton. He's in fourth position as they drop down to Eau Rouge. He's got ahead of Jacques Villeneuve in the BAR. And David Coulthard from ninth position on the grid has got ahead of somebody because he's tucked up right behind Mika Hakkinen. Here they come up to Les Combes for the first time, and Michael Schumacher is right behind Ralf, and he's going to try and take him. Can he get through? Fabulous start by Michael Schumacher, who takes the lead on lap 1 of 43. He's going to take a lot of stopping now. Barrichello third, Fisichella fourth, then the two McLarens fifth and sixth. They have made progress. Now, this is the interesting bit. Fisichella in fourth position. That Benetton is really showing signs of coming good here in Belgium. It's got a completely new aerodynamic pack engine changes for the Renault. And Fisichella, if he can hold on to this fourth position ahead of the McLarens, will be doing a cracking job. And everybody is really getting the hammer down now. Schumacher leads his brother by 2 seconds.
And look at Jenson Button up into 9th place. He's just been passed on that last lap, actually, by one of the Saubers, but Button from 15th up to 8th towards the end of the first lap, and then just losing a place in the bus stop. And that is an alternative view of the fabulous Eau Rouge corner. And there then is Button he is still in 9th behind Raikkonen.
Yeah, and it's an indication again of the fact that Benetton are getting things together as past the arrows. That's Jos Verstappen being passed by Montoya. Montoya, who started last, and Jos Verstappen started 19th. So Montoya has already made up a couple of places as he comes up towards the Jordan behind him, and Michael Schumacher leads. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams still second. Barrichello, who was pressing him, seems to have dropped back a bit in 3rd position. Then it's Fisichella, Häkkinen, Coulthard. Villeneuve has lost a place. Kimi Raikkonen has lost a place. Jenson Button, as Martin's just told you, has gained 6 places. A storming first lap. And look, he is gaining now, is Jenson Button on Kimi Raikkonen, who is in 8th position.
And look at this squabble.
Jarno Trulli chasing Eddie Irvine in the dark green Jaguar, and right up amongst them too is Olivier Panis coming through behind Pedro de la Rosa, who is in 10th position. Top 10, here they are. This is lap 3. Schumacher, Michael, Ralf, Barrichello, Fisichella, Häkkinen 5th, Coulthard 6th, then Villeneuve followed by Raikkonen, 9th is Button, 10th is Alesi.
And let's follow Montoya up to 16th already then, Montoya. So he's moved through 5 cars from the very back of the grid, Michael. A full 1.3 seconds faster that lap than Ralf. And this then is Häkkinen passing Fisichella for 4th place.
Yep, the McLaren goes up a place, and David Coulthard, I suspect, is going to follow him through in the 2nd McLaren, because if Mika Häkkinen can get past the young Italian, I have no doubt that David Coulthard will be able to as well.
Coulthard will have to wait, I think, until Les Combes next time around. And no, he won't, because Fisichella's made a mistake. Fisichella made a mistake through the left-hander, and Coulthard then easily making his way down the inside of Pouin and pulling away. Villeneuve now attacking the young Italian.
Yeah, Canada chases Italy. Jacques Villeneuve in the BAR, who started 6th and has therefore lost a place, coming up behind Giancarlo Fisichella's Benetton in that position, and right behind them you can see Kimi Raikkonen in the Sauber. So Ferrari leads, Williams 2nd, Ferrari 3rd, now down up into 4th and 5th places the 2 McLarens. Down to 6th goes Fisichella in the Benetton, and Jacques Villeneuve, the world champion of 1997, has beat.
Raikkonen's going to have a go up the outside here, and I think he will make the pass on Villeneuve. Raikkonen very, very fast through Blanchimont and under braking into the bus stop. Magnificent driving there from the young Finn as he takes away Villeneuve's 7th place.
Yeah, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen has not done as well from the back as Montoya. Frentzen, who started last but one, that's to say 21st, has got past Marquez and Bernoldi and is now in 19th position. Montoya, who started 22nd, has passed Alonso, Marquez, Bernoldi and Verstappen, and sorry, he's still up behind Verstappen. He's in 19th place.
Michael Schumacher 2 seconds a lap faster than any other man on the track on the last lap. I mean, that's outrageous. He had that kind of advantage in the warm-up this morning. I'm expecting all of the key players to 2-stop. I've got a bit of a question mark about the Williams, but 2-stop apparently, I'm hearing from various teams, is the optimum. But as I said, so many of these teams do not have as much data, and somebody's had a big one
there. I can't see who it is. Pile of tyres, and it's
there's a Jaguar and a Prost, so we think it's Bertie and Eddie Irvine.
Yeah, it is Irvine.
And that Prost is a long way into those tyres. Where is
it? Here it is. There is Bertie in the yellow helmet. This is a replay, of course, and they touch as Eddie Irvine goes past. Bertie loses it, goes over the grass into the gravel trap in the Prost.
That is a nasty accident, Murray. I'm not looking forward to this thing connecting, because that is on the way into Blanchimont. That is 190 miles an hour. Ooh. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have to red flag this race. That is not a good... There's no good accidents. That is a bad incident there for Luciano Berti. That is top speed, spearing straight into the tyre barriers, and I'm not happy with that one.
But they're actually having to burrow into the tyres quite literally to get at the Prost and find out what's going on in there.
Eddie Irvine helping out there. He knows too, like we all know, that is a very serious incident. And obviously Eddie didn't realise that Bertie was alongside him, and they touched. Bertie losing his front wing, only able to go absolutely straight.
So just to summarise, the race has been stopped on lap 6 out of 43 in Belgium, after Eddie Irvine in the Jaguar and Luciano Berti in the Prost had a collision as they were exiting the 190-mile-an-hour Blanchimont corner, which resulted in Berti leaving the track at great speed and going virtually straight head-on into the Armco. For what it's worth, Michael Schumacher was leading his brother Ralph by 0.8 of a second in this what was to be 43-lap race, with Barrichello, Häkkinen, Coulthard and Fisichella completing the rest of the top 6. Louise, what's the news?
Well, I'm just standing in the pit lane with Niki Lauda. Eddie Irvine has just come back in the safety car and walked through the garage to the truck, but he did have a word with Niki on the way through. Niki, what did he have to tell you?
He says Luciano is conscious, which is very good after this incredible impact, and now they're going to check him out in the hospital, but it looks not as bad as it did look before.
Now I can tell you that there's going to be the race is going to be restarted. There's going to be a new formation lap, and it's going to be in just under 3 minutes time. Bernie Ecclestone consults with, or rather talks to, Ralf Schumacher and tells him what the form is. We will be back.
You're back with us in Spa. After that accident, the Belgian Grand Prix was stopped for nearly half an hour. Bertie taken by helicopter to hospital in nearby Liège. Concussion, but no broken bones. His official condition, what a relief. Now the Belgian Grand Prix becomes a brand new race over 36 laps. The non-starters, Alonso, Raikkonen, Irvine and Bertie. The rest start in the positions they were holding at the time of the accident.
This bizarre thing going on at the front of the grid. Ralf Schumacher still up on jacks. The mechanics had to get off in that 15-second period, otherwise he'll get a stop and go. But he'll start from the back of the grid. He's still on the jacks. They've got their synchronization of the procedure wrong. And there is Ralf, absolutely, I've never seen this before, stranded on his own jacks as they were preparing to put the car back down on the ground. They had to clear the grid. They got caught out by the 15-second rule.
No Ralf Schumacher there, because he's going to be starting from the back. Here we go again for 36 laps, and it's go again. Schumacher leads, Barrichello up behind him, and Fisichella making a storming start. Incredible start. Up into second position ahead of Barrichello in the Benetton, and Montoya runs wide and is taken by about half a dozen cars.
I think Button had a stonking start again as well. We've got a damaged Sauber, now we've got a damaged Jaguar as well, with a clumsy mistake by Della Rosa. But I think we've got two Benettons well up front, both McLarens slow away, and Michael Schumacher then an easy lead. Who's next? It is Fisichella. Look at Button up in fourth place, under attack from Coulthard. Coulthard takes away Button's place. Magnificent start again from those two Benettons.
Schumacher, Fisichella, Barrichello in third position. The two Ferraris first and third. Behind them is the McLaren of David Coulthard, it looks like to me, as Michael Schumacher streaks away in the... But look at this, Benettons in second and fifth places after the season that they have had. And that is Fisichella, pursued by Rubens Barrichello, then the McLaren, and then the second McLaren. So it's David Coulthard, and touring in the Sauber of Nick Heidfeld, who started down in 12th position. As you look at Fisichella, Barrichello, then the McLaren, coming through to complete the first lap in this restarted race, which is going to be 36 laps long. Race leader, Schumacher, Fisichella, Barrichello, up into the bus stop. Barrichello having a look at the back of the Benetton. Is he going to try and come through at the bus stop? No, but Fisichella chops him off, and into and out of the bus stop they go now. Through to complete the lap, and Button holds his position. Michael Schumacher is now on lap 6, because that is the situation. Remember, they had already done 4 laps, and the race order now: Schumacher, Barrichello, Ferrari, and our screens go blank. This is turning out to be a pretty trying afternoon for all sorts of people, especially Nick Heidfeld, who is out of the race. So both Saubers are missing now. Kimi Räikkönen did not restart. Nick Heidfeld is out of the race. Michael Schumacher is through, and this is the battle for second.
Yes, and there you see the 2 Williams towards the back of the field. That will be for about 12th and 13th place, I would guess. We've got no data up here at the moment. After their different traumas, Montoya stalling in the first race, and Ralph being jacked up and stranded for the second race. I believe also Häkkinen has passed Jenson Button, so we've got a McLaren third and fourth now. Sorry, it's going to be fourth and fifth, isn't it?
Well, I had thought I'd seen it all, but I have never seen anything like this. I've never seen a grid with a car with all 4 wheels off the ground as the rest of them leave. And here is the battle for second. Fisichella pursued by Barrichello, with Michael Schumacher out on his own in front. Then the 2 McLarens of Häkkinen and David Coulthard, and that is Barrichello.
It's Coulthard and Häkkinen and Montoya.
Out.
Will he ever win a Grand Prix?
Here is a replay of the start.
And you look at the 2 Benettons like they're in a different gear to everybody else. And there's going to be a bit of a calamity, I think, towards the back. I think the Jaguar of De La Rosa is going to get in the middle of a 4-way fight there. Montoya got caught up in it as well. And that is why we saw so many of them dropping back. Heidfeld's car's already damaged, and I think De La Rosa will clip Heidfeld out of view now as he passes him. And there then is Jarno Trulli's Jordan. So whether he picked up a puncture or what, we don't know. But Trulli, unless he was 3-stopping this afternoon, highly unlikely, I would have thought. And that's Häkkinen in for stop. Now remember, as I say remember, I need to tell you that they were not allowed to refuel during the red flag procedure. If they did, they would have to have started from the back. So this is why you're seeing stops earlier in this race. Remember, race 1, null and void, but they were not allowed to refuel while they were sitting on the grid. So this is effectively the first stops. I think maybe Trulli's was a scheduled one then. This is the first stops had we been on the full Grand Prix distance. Hope that makes sense.
That is lap 8 out of 36. Now let's tell you who's been in. Häkkinen has been in. Lacey was in the yellow Jordan that we saw leaving, so he has changed his Bridgestone tyres. Jarno Trulli has been in, so has Olivier Panis, and Pedro de la Rosa, of course, has not only been in but retired as the battle continues. Look at that. Fisichella now 18 seconds rounded up to Michael Schumacher ahead of him, still in the lead on lap 9 out of 36. And you can see that it's pretty close for second, third and fourth, with just about 2 seconds covering Fisichella down to Coulthard. In the 5th position, Jacques Villeneuve, who started. And here's Ralf Schumacher, replay, taking Jos Verstappen's arrows and moving up a place. And Ralf is now in 7th position. Into the pits comes the Ferrari, and James Allen is there to receive it. Barrichello.
Thank you, Murray. A very curious situation, of course, because the whole race has been messed up. Normally speaking, 2-stopper, they would have come in around about lap 17. If you add together all the parade laps they've had, plus the racing laps, it's more or less about 17. There should be 50 kilos of fuel going in, around about 8 seconds. But what the people who really benefited here are the people who started out the race with a 1-stop fuel load, because they'll get into the window shortly where they can fuel the thing once and keep going, and they will really have benefited. We'll find out who they are shortly.
Thanks for that, James. A good bit of strategy reading. We need all the help we can get. And here is Jacques Villeneuve in from 6th position. He was just 2.5 seconds ahead of Häkkinen, who has stopped, so therefore Häkkinen should have moved up. We'll wait and see on the track. And there is the Ferrari of race leader Michael Schumacher on his 10th lap 20 seconds ahead of Fisichella.
And look at Barrichello there. Hakkinen did get out of the pits ahead of Barrichello, even if Hakkinen's now under pressure. So a good stop then from McLaren that time around. That has elevated Hakkinen nicely. Coulthard running up in third place at the moment. He's not stopped, nor second place man Fisichella. Michael Schumacher having a laugh up the front, 20 seconds ahead. Still 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else. And what throws another curveball into the fuel equation that James was talking about is on the parade laps. They use so much less fuel, so that all has to be factored in. And now is the time for Michael to come in and give his car a little drink.
Yeah, with a 20-second lead, so I don't think he's certainly not going to get back in the lead. Fisichella and Coulthard, and maybe even Barrichello will go through before Michael Schumacher rejoins, but he will have been the first of the top three to make his pit stop. Now let's see what the situation is. Here is Michael Schumacher coming down the pit lane as the McLaren comes in.
To save your heart, Murray, I mean, he was 20 seconds ahead, and Barrichello's already stopped, as has Hakkinen. Coulthard stopping on the same lap. Fisichella did not stop that time around, so it's Fisichella that takes the lead of the Grand Prix.
And I'm trying to remember when the last time that a Benetton was leading a Grand Prix.
Was it Nürburgring, the one that Johnny Herbert won? Wasn't Fisichella in great shape of winning that and spun off?
Just testing you, and you got it right. Johnny Herbert then, and lap 11 out of 36. Fisichella, who has not stopped, leads Michael Schumacher, who has stopped. And there to prove it is the German in the Ferrari behind the Italian in the Benetton. And if Michael Schumacher can just keep it going, he will be making history here today in Belgium by winning the Belgian Grand Prix for the 6th time, for the 5th time officially, having lost one of those victories, and to become the greatest Grand Prix driver of all time in terms of the number of victories, by winning 52 races in comparison with Alain Prost's 51. But, as I always say, there's many a slip twixt cup and lip, and there's a long way to go.
Well, he wasn't short of fuel, was he, Fisichella? He's fueled the longest of anybody, with the exception of Frentzen, who's way down in 10th place. So those Benettons leaping off the line like that was not a fuel situation. They've clearly got some fantastic new launch control. And now then, Fisichella takes to that extended pit lane. It's very, very long on the speed limiter here. Michael will, of course, then regain the lead. Where will Fisichella come out? Will it be ahead of Barrichello, Hakkinen, and where did Coulthard rejoin the track? We haven't been able to see yet. We haven't picked them up. It's going to be very tight between those four as to who made or lost in this current round of pit stops.
Yeah, let's remember that it's a Renault engine behind Fisichella. Renault were the first with a turbo engine, and they made it work, and they were first with air valves, and they made them work.
It's Coulthard going, so Coulthard's through then for Fisichella. No, he's not. Fisichella take obviously the shorter route around the inside. So Coulthard did stay out ahead of Hakkinen. Barrichello was the big loser. Fisichella maintains second position. And there's Barrichello without a wing. I think he's probably been across the grass at the bus stop. That is why he's falling back, and that's 4 1/3 miles he's got to go before he can drop into the pits for a 15-second nose change. So Barrichello having a disastrous afternoon. Good news for Coulthard, second in the World Championship. Barrichello struggling, and Ralf Schumacher back in 10th place. So he will have such a terrible understeer. He'll lose a good 10 to 15 seconds.
Look for the yellow Jordan in the background, because that's Jarno Trulli. He's in 6th position. He's bound to get past Rubens Barrichello without the downforce on the Ferrari. There is the new nose and wing waiting to go on. But meantime, Barrichello is having to feel his way round the circuit with massively reduced downforce and therefore grip on the steering wheels at the front. Jarno Trulli is gaining on him hand over fist. He was 6 seconds behind him. Jarno Trulli is going to take 5th position and 2 World Championship points, and his teammate Jean Alesi, who is currently 7th. There is Trulli. Trulli has caught Rubens Barrichello, who's still running 5th, and through goes Trulli up into 5th place, 2 World Championship points. Now, where is Jean Alesi? There he is. Jordan Lacey is going to move up into the points. Jordan really need this, because they are down in 6th position in the World Championship. And there is Lacey.
Barrichello can't stop, of course, can't slow down. He's got no downforce on his front tyres. It's all at the back of the car, no grip at all. So that's why he's struggling under braking everywhere. And Lacey getting a good run off at him through Stavolo. And Rubens will have to be very careful in Blanchimont, otherwise he'll just drive straight off the road, and he knows it only too well. Luckily, the front wing will already have been preset for whatever they started this race with in terms of setup. He goes straight on into the pit lane. Barrichello then falling back. That was already Villeneuve about to take him. James Allen is there.
Tremendously dramatic afternoon here at Spa once again as Rubens comes in without a front nose. I can tell you there's been other drama as well. Michael Schumacher, how many times has he been lucky run off the course? He did it on the last lap at Stavolo and just missed the barrier. Apparently Ferrari believe there is no damage to Michael's car. Clearly there is to Rubens's car as the new nose goes on and fuel goes in as well, and Rubens is back out in the race.
James, I must take it. Jenson Button out of the race. You can see he's gone into the wall in the Benetton and has removed his left front wheel. He was in 10th position. He's out of the race. And here is a replay of what is happening, or what happened, as Ralf Schumacher in the Williams in the background made to go through. And the wing comes off before Schumacher went through, so it was not a coming together. Jenson Button must have dislodged the wing as he went over the rumble strip.
Yeah, he took the front wing off on the left-hand curb, took too much curb on the way in, and then with the resultant understeer and the wing tucking itself underneath the front tyre, you're going to go straight to the scene of the accident with the wall so close to the racetrack. So we'll probably see that again. And now this is... That is interestingly, Barrichello losing his front wing in exactly the same way.
Now, all this is great news for Jordan as you watch Ralf Schumacher continuing to claw his way through the field. He is in 9th position at the present moment. Barrichello there is back in the race. But all this is great news for Jordan, who are aspiring to 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. Sauber, who are currently in 4th place, have already lost Nick Heidfeld. Kimi Räikkönen didn't start the race. They'll score no points. And both the Jordans of Jarno Trulli and Jean Alesi are in the points at 4th and 5th places, ahead of both the BARs. So Jordan are going to move up if they keep going.
Trulli for a scheduled stop. He was the first of the first stoppers, so it's not a surprise to see him in. And so Jarno Trulli then was in 5th position as he came into the pits. Teammate Alesi takes over that 5th position. Lap times are slowing a bit. I wonder, with all of this drama, people flying off the road, we haven't seen Michael Schumacher go off the road, but we know that he has and survived to tell the story. I wonder if it's just spitting with rain.
We're on lap 20 out of 36 in this restarted Belgian Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher is stroking his way to victory. 27 seconds ahead of a battle between Giancarlo Fisichella's Benetton, which you are looking at now, the blue car, still pursued by David Coulthard in the McLaren Mercedes, who can do nothing about the Benetton Renault. The gap that separates them is 0.6 of a second. Mika Häkkinen is 4th, Alesi is 5th. Trulli is in 6th position, so both the Jordans are in the points, ahead of their Constructors' Championship rivals, BAR and Sauber. 7th is Villeneuve, 8th is Ralf Schumacher, 9th is Barrichello and 10th is Verstappen. 3 other runners still left. 11th Frentzen, 12th Panis, 13th Bernoldi.
Replay, I think it's just going to be Coulthard getting a little bit sideways in the Fagnes chicanes where he crashed on Friday quite heavily, back end of his car, quite loose through there. But I hope that all of the teams have radioed their drivers, certainly with Ferrari and Benetton in particular, radioed their drivers to say, give the curb on the way into the bus stop plenty of respect. Otherwise, we're going to see more people lose their front wing in that particular corner. I can see the Benetton mechanics out in the pit lane, which must only be for Giancarlo Fisichella, because Jenson Button is in the wall and out of the race. So will Fisichella pit at the end of this lap? Michael Schumacher's 29 seconds ahead now, and he's backed his pace off. So Michael with such a big lead, and having had that scare that we've heard about by going off at Stavolo. And where does he go? He does indeed go into the pit lane.
Yeah, Giancarlo Fisichella in David Coulthard not in, so he will move up into second place. And of course this will be the signal for Coulthard to get the hammer down now that he's got Fisichella out of his way and trying to build up a gap before he has to come in the hope that when he comes out after his stop he will be in front of Fisichella. Time will tell.
Yeah, he's only got to find 6 or 7 tenths, has Coulthard, on an in or an out lap or during the pit stop. And who was that in the background? Hakkinen in for a stop too. So Coulthard, we know, was fueled. It looked like 3 or 4 laps longer on the first stint, looking at the data here. So Coulthard, we know, can go a little, well, we assume can go a little bit further, yet we don't know how much fuel they put in Coulthard's car at the first stop. Certainly leapfrogged him past the Ferrari of Barrichello, and Hakkinen comes out alongside Ralf Schumacher,
who passes him and gets ahead of the McLaren. That is not going to help Mika at all, but Ralf Schumacher moves up a place. This race is really coming alive. We're on lap 24 out of 36. The crowd and the weather, incidentally, which I had expected to, and Mika Hakkinen does to Ralf Schumacher what he did to his brother last year, except that Ricardo Zonta is not there this time.
Just shows you how many revs they've knocked out of that BMW engine. It's twice this afternoon. The fastest car in a straight line easily in qualifying has just been breezed past by a Ferrari first, then a McLaren. So they've really kicked that BMW engine to make sure it can get to the end of the race. Ralf clearly short shifting there, losing an enormous amount of straight line speed.
And we're on lap 25 with Michael Schumacher, who we have seen hardly anything of in this race, because he is it's a demonstration race as far as he's concerned, and as I say that, we see him on the screen just to establish that the brilliant 4 times a world champion German is on his way to his 52nd Grand Prix, as in comes David Coulthard. Now when he rejoins, where is Fisichella going to be? But now, James, over to you.
It's going to be very, very marginal indeed. Coulthard needed a good in lap. He's only been 1 lap since Fisichella made his stop. This has got to be pretty crisp as well for McLaren. 7 seconds they're looking for in a perfect world to try and nip it slightly slow off the fuel hose, but he should do it, Murray.
Fisichella was 8.4, Coulthard 7.2. Look, 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 there is Fisichella, and he passes the pit lane exit before, just marginally before David Coulthard. They are in exactly the same positions as they were before the pit stop, and that will be heartbreaking for David Coulthard, who tried so hard when Fisichella had gone into the pits to go faster and be able to get ahead. He has failed.
We don't think they changed the tyres on Fisichella's car at the pit stop. We're not absolutely sure. We haven't. They did not change the tyres on Fisichella's car at the pit stop. So quite clearly, he liked the balance of it so much, and the wear rate clearly not that high around here. So on this shortened race, so Fisichella then just fueled up. And can Coulthard do anything about it on this stint, the final stint of the Grand Prix?
Bit of a gamble for Fisichella, who is on Michelin tyres, of course, and here is Michael Schumacher coming in for his stop with a lead of 37 seconds, so he can refuel, change all 4 wheels, take his helmet off, have a smoke and a cup of tea, put him on back again and rejoin in the lead. A massive, massive lead. And a very slick stop from Ferrari. 7.7 seconds, which is 7 tenths of a second faster than the quick one we have just seen. And Michael Schumacher tours out of the pits. He's still going to be in the lead. He has not lost it. And this is his 26th lap. 10 laps coming up at the end of this one for the conclusion of the Belgian Grand Prix, with the positions for 2nd and 3rd still unchanged, and David Coulthard having a real go now. Of course, he's on fresh tyres and Fisichella isn't, and this could make all the difference. We're looking back at the replay of Mika Hakkinen going into the bus stop, getting it cross-threaded, going over the grass, easing off just to keep the front wing clear of the ground, regaining race pace.
Without doubt, in this 3rd sector of the race, it's Coulthard with the faster car, and David, that looks a touch of a squeeze.
Oh. And they both go through inside the arrows. They shall not pass. The Maginot Line policy from Giancarlo Fisichella. in the French engined with the Renault Benetton, and he stays ahead of David Coulthard. What a wonderful season David Coulthard has had. He's had 3 retirements, but he's done so well in all the others.
Coulthard's got a good run through Eau Rouge this time around, and can he sweep around the outside? Indeed he can. Beautiful move from David Coulthard. Somehow or other, Fisichella wrong-footed in Eau Rouge. We saw him with a big advantage into Eau Rouge, but somehow he lost it in the middle. Coulthard getting a good slingshot and making it stick around the outside. Now I believe with that faster car, Coulthard will begin to pull away in a clear second place.
So can he do something about Michael Schumacher's lead? Not enough, of course, because Michael Schumacher is half a minute up the road now. He's 30 seconds ahead of David Coulthard's second-placed McLaren as the Scotsman comes up to lap Tasso Marquez. Here's a replay.
Yeah, and he had the extra straight line speed, and when you're up the inside, it's dirtier, it's bumpier. You know you have to brake early, and so does the guy trying to pass you around the outside. He's got the clean line and the confidence, and well, David put a lot of trust into Fisichella there, that he wouldn't just lock a wheel and slide straight into the side of him too. But I think Fisichella's an old enough hand now that you would put your safety of your chassis in his hand.
I say there's going to be a colossal scrap. There is a colossal scrap. You're looking at it for the last World Championship point for 6th place. And if Jean Alesi can get it in only his second drive for Jordan, having scored twice already for the Prost team previously, he will be elated. He's famous for taking off his helmet and throwing it into the crowd. Helmets don't cost all that much, but they're full of extremely expensive radio equipment, and I don't think Jordan would have been expecting him to be in a position to do it. Let's hope for their sake that he changes his mind this time if he finishes in the points. If he does, it will be a magnificent achievement. He's the most experienced Grand Prix driver of them all this year. It is his 198th Grand Prix, and Jean Alesi at Les Combes on lap 31 out of 36 leads Barrichello, who is 7th, leads Ralf Schumacher, who is 8th, and behind them is Jacques Villeneuve in the BAR.
Well, they've all stopped twice, as anticipated. Alesi had a relatively travel-free run. Of course, Barrichello had to stop for a new nose. Ralf Schumacher started at the back of the restarted race after being left stranded on the jacks. The mechanics not quite getting the car down in time and having to get off the grid. So Jean Alesi then grimly trying to hang on still as he heads towards the final chicane. He appears to have enough speed, given that Barrichello is in his dirty air, and you just see truly was moving out of the foreground of your screen as they came into this chicane.
Yeah, and it appears to me that Jacques Villeneuve has pulled the bung out. It looks to me visually as though he's closing marginally on Ralf Schumacher in 8th place ahead of him to make it hopefully a 4-car train battle for that 6th position. Michael Schumacher, race leader, as he has led all the way. Once again, the luck has been with him, because when he started this race, Juan Pablo Montoya, the pole position holder in the Williams, had to go to the back, and his brother Ralph was still up on the jack. So good fortune has once again come Michael Schumacher's way, but as ever he has exploited it superbly. His lead has dropped to 26 seconds, but that is a colossal advantage with only 4 laps to go at the end of this one. And David Coulthard therefore is closing up on him. In fact, on the previous lap he was about 2.5 seconds faster, but I'm sure that's because Michael Schumacher, experienced as he is pacing himself.
Barrichello in a very good position there. Jean Alesi necessarily having to defend his line, and well, I really thought Jean would just spear forwards there and be the last of the late breakers. Didn't do so. Probably didn't defend as aggressively as I expected Alesi to be, given that it's for the final point of the afternoon. No point finishing 7th in any Grand Prix, especially this one. So Barrichello moves into an all-important point-scoring position.
And bang! Out goes the Jordan of Jarno Trulli. That means to say that Alesi is back in the points again, and Rubens Barrichello moves up another place, another a heartbreaking end-of-race situation for Eddie Jordan's team.
Yeah, poor old Eddie Jordan, poor the Jordan team. They don't deserve that. They really don't. They've just had a Lacey moved out of a point-scoring position just as Truly blows up. They were on for 3 points, and all of a sudden they're on. Well, of course, the Lacey moves back a point, back into 6th now with the demise of his teammate. So suddenly they're down to just 1 point.
Now Schumacher's having a go again. Now can he get inside? And Lacey once again turns across the front of the Williams BMW. He is absolutely determined that he is going to have that 6th position on the World Championship point that goes with it, and not Ralf Schumacher. And here we are on the last lap. Michael Schumacher exiting turn 13 in this 22 corner, 4.4 miles Spa-Francorchamps circuit, a brilliant driver's circuit, and it suits him. He is a brilliant driver. Not very far now to go to give him the all-time record in terms of World Championship wins. 52 victories. Alain Prost has been saying, I hope he does it soon. I'm getting sick of people talking to me about whether he's going to do it. Well, he is going to do it. Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari is coming up to win his 8th race of the season. And his most ever is 9 with Nigel Mansell, and he does it. Michael Schumacher wins and becomes the most successful Grand Prix driver of all time as David Coulthard slides the McLaren through the bus stop to finish in 2nd place.
Michael Schumacher, clearly the driver of the day. He kept his head through all of that, waltzed carelessly off into the distance. Very, very strong drive from Coulthard as well. A well-deserved 6 points and a well-deserved podium place for this man, Fisichella. He's finishing 17 seconds down on Coulthard on the end, faded towards the end, but Häkkinen with a moderately lacklustre for him, especially afternoon, down in 4th place, 36 seconds off the lead. But Michael Schumacher was just swanning around at the end. He gave 6 seconds away in the last lap alone, did Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, there's Barrichello finishing 5th, but who's going to be 6th? Is it going to be Jean Alesi? Is it going to be Ralf Schumacher? Let's go back down the track and find out. And there is the answer. It's going to be Jean Alesi. Jean Alesi in his 2nd race for Jordan retrieves something for the team. So confirmation, a wonderful win which makes him the most successful Grand Prix driver of all time, to the man in red, the Red Baron, Michael Schumacher from Kerpen in Germany.
Fantastic performance then from Michael Schumacher. We will be right back from Spa with the views of Tony Jardine, and we'll be taking another look at that crash from which Luciano Berti would seem to have emerged unscathed. See you shortly.
I'm not your usual bank customer. I'm a marketing manager for a large firm of financial advisors, so I know a good deal when I see one. I'm not interested in short-term introductory offers. I have a current account, savings account, credit card, and a loan, all with Intelligent Finance. The really clever bit is Intelligent Finance keeps all my accounts separate, but their technology allows me to choose not to earn interest on my savings and current accounts, but to save interest on my borrowings instead. So in my mind, I'm better off. And I don't pay tax on my savings either. That's great. Well, it is, isn't it?
To find out how Intelligent Finance could make you better off, call 0845 600 4343 or visit if.com.
Michelin, more than a tyre, it's a team committed to high performance for the drivers, for you, every day.
The more you do, the more your world becomes chaotic and the more you need control. That's the whole philosophy behind the Nissan Almera. It's all about feeling protected in a cocoon. The design translates to the agility of the car. It's kind of a control freak on wheels, but in a good way.
People say I'm brave. I've had to deal with a lot in my life. But to go around to somebody's house, to tell a man that his wife and child have been killed by some drunken idiot in a car crash. How do you do that? I'm not sure I could. I couldn't.
I literally woke up one morning and said, hey, where's my joy?
Through the Häagen-Dazs sensual eating program, you can find that joy.
At first I felt ridiculous, but enjoying pleasure is a life skill.
Pleasure is the path to joy.
The fridge opened, but it was me who filled it with light.
He found his joy. You can too.
At the bottom of the tub, I found my smile.
Pleasure is the path to joy.
Two flame grilled sandwiches for £2, please.
Bacon double cheeseburgers or chicken flamers?
Bacon double cheeseburger.
Only Burger King gives you these two sandwiches for just £2. All you have to decide is chicken, beef, or one of each.
Bacon double cheeseburger. Bacon double cheeseburger.
I've had the privilege and saved £pounds on my motor insurance.
I've had the privilege and got a great deal on breakdown cover.
I've had the privilege with free 24-hour accident recovery.
I've had the privilege and pay by instalments.
Paying over £300 for motor insurance. It's time you had the privilege. Call 0845 246 0077 or buy online at privilege.com. You could save pounds.
And you're back with us in Belgium, where we have seen another triumph for Michael Schumacher, the Spa master. Coulthard doing very well to recover from his qualifying setback. First podium since Canada last year for Jordan-bound Fisichella. Häkkinen fourth. Barrichello just picking up a couple. A Laces late battle with Ralf Schumacher earning Jordan a point, but they all earn their money in Belgium.
Another very strong drive from a not terribly promising grid slot.
Yeah, obviously I'm very happy with the team giving me a reliable car. I benefited a lot, obviously, from people dropping out on the grid, but it's obviously helped other people earlier in the year when I dropped out, so that's probably the payback. And I had to work very hard, actually, to get past the Benetton. I was surprised, but they were quick.
Tell me about the race. Was it fun or was it just plain hard work?
It was a little bit hard, but because there was a good balance, it was okay. David was pushing behind me, and in the straight it was very quick. But then at the end, I was struggling a little bit with the grip because I did the whole race with the same set of tires, and it was a bit difficult, but it was the right choice.
The actual accident, is that one of those ones that you're going to be replaying over and over in your mind?
No, I just seen it there for the first time, and that corner, it's unless you're clearly ahead, it's not really the place to overtake. And it's just one of them things. Let's just trying to get up there, and I'm trying to keep him back because I was going very long. So I knew I was going to be struggling at the start of the race, but hopefully it would come good. But that's the problem. You're always fighting like hell. The first 10 laps trying to hold the two stoppers back, so it has its risks, but it can give rewards sometimes.
You're off to see him tonight, I understand.
Yeah, I'll go and see how the boy is.
So then it's a ton up for Michael Schumacher. Decent day for David Coulthard, 9 points ahead of Rubens Barrichello and 13 clear of Ralf Schumacher. No improvement for Montoya. In the constructors, Ferrari, of course, the world champions, and Williams not making up any ground at all on McLaren. Sauber, though, 4 points clear of British American Racing and Jordan. Both have 16. Tony Jardine, the one big talking point of this race, not Michael Schumacher, but that accident.
Dreadful accident. Former teammate of Eddie Irvine's, hence his concern, everybody's concern. But at the moment, from the best guesses we've got, the guy is stable in hospital. But a bit of a rookie's mistake as far as I'm concerned, going on the inside there before Blanchimont, 180 miles per hour. He puts 2 wheels on the grass, loses the front wing, loses steering. His right front suspension is broken before he goes in front 3/4 on through those layers of tyres, and somehow survived a horrific accident. And look at the damage to the Prost there, but it survived. The survival cell is intact. Luciano Berti is intact, and that's good news.
And it is a big tick for the safety standards that we see these days on those cars. The Prost, the nose looked okay.
Rigid structural tests before a car can be passed for Grand Prix racing, side impact tests, frontal impact tests, tests over the top of the roll hoop, all proving its worth now, showing how safe and strong a Grand Prix car can be.
Decent day for Benetton, wasn't it? And particularly at the restarts.
Fabulous day for Benetton. All the work that Mike Gascoigne has put in, Pat Simmons, look at that, rocketing through on the restart. Giancarlo Fisichella leaving Häkkinen for dead. They're getting past Barrichello up into second place, and in fact Button getting up really well, only being held back by Coulthard on the inside. Meanwhile, back behind there, Montoya's had to start from the back along with his teammate, gets the squeeze from the inside from Heidfeld, and you just see, look at the power of the Benetton, look at the Renault V10 3-litre engine there, this radical engine powering all the way up to the back of Michael Schumacher, only stopping at the last minute there, and Button joining in. And then you see the squeeze there on Pedro de la Rosa, Heidfeld on the inside, and actually pushing Montoya out to the outside as well.
We knew that they were going to come good towards the end of the season. Indeed, they have. David Coulthard, though, he's spent a lot of time staring at Giancarlo Fisichella and just finally got by him.
But this is it, because he'd been at La Source, they got round Benaldi there, but David Coulthard's visor and his rear were covered in oil from that Renault engine or the Renault gearbox, and then finally, and you can see David couldn't really see too well through that smear right across his visor. Very brave manoeuvre, 200 miles per hour round the outside at Les Combes, which Häkkinen, of course, did last year in a rather different way to Schumacher when they went past Zonta.
And if there hadn't been enough action in the race already, right at the end, Jean Alesi, the old veteran, held off Ralf Schumacher brilliantly.
This is normally a lucky circuit for Jordan. They did the double, their first race win here in '98 with Damon Hill and Ralf Schumacher, and Ralf Schumacher there, desperate to try and get a point, having started from the back. Jean Alesi, 37 years old, he's finished every race this season. This is why he's been hired till the end of the season by Eddie Jordan. He gets the car home. He's prepared to fight. For me, the tiger of the race, Jean Alesi, the veteran.
And Michael Schumacher, top of the tree.
He goes along now with Jim Clark and Ayrton Senna having won Spa 5 times, 52 Grand Prix wins. This is where he made his debut in 1991 in the Jordan, having told a few porcupines. He told Eddie Jordan that he'd been to this circuit many, many times. He'd actually only been on a bicycle before then, and that was the start of this glittering Grand Prix career. His debut win was here. He gets a hug from Giancarlo Fisichella, up on the podium there with Coulthard, Fisichella, and of course Ross Brawn, the technical director and winning constructor for Ferrari. So a fabulous day for Ferrari.
Thanks so much indeed, Tony. And of course, Michael Schumacher's birthplace, Kirpen, just around the corner over the German border. In a couple of weeks' time, Monza will feel like home for Michael Schumacher, and we will be there for the full ITV service throughout the weekend. The qualifying live from 11:30 on the Saturday, pre-race show just after midday on Sunday, highlights at 11:45, repeated on ITV2 just before 1 o'clock. So then we salute Michael Schumacher, statistically the greatest of all time, and we wish Luciano Berti a speedy and a complete recovery. Good night from Spa.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address sponsored by Foster's is www.
Why people